Let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about this Bills matchup. As we know, it is coming on Saturday night, prime time, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a good matchup. This, I think, is going to be a very good game, as a lot of people are saying. This is going to be a very, very good game, as a lot of people are saying. I think the matchup that everybody is focusing on right now is obviously the Bills receivers versus the Ravens secondary, right? Because, I mean, there's like a little piece of hair flying over here, man. I'm trying to get it out of my face. Apologies. That's the matchup everybody's focusing on right now for good reason. For good reason, because I mean, the Bills have Stephon Diggs, they have Cole Beasley, they have John Brown, former Baltimore Raven. You guys remember him on the Ravens with Joe Flacco. He loved playing with Joe Flacco, but when Lamar came in, he's like, you could tell he wanted out of there immediately, right? They also have guys like unsung heroes like Isaiah McKenzie, who had a good game in Week 17. And then last week, Gabriel Davis showed up and made big plays against the Colts. So this receiving core for the Bills is going to be an absolute challenge for the Ravens secondary, right? And especially because the Ravens secondary, on occasion, they can be locked down, they can be shut down, but as you guys know, there's occasions that our secondary is just inconsistent, right? So I don't know what matchups they're going to be doing. I don't know who they're going to put on Stephon Diggs. I don't know if they might, double him, I would imagine. But the problem, if you double Stephon Diggs, then you have to worry about Cole Beasley over the middle in the slot. You have to worry about John Brown going deep on the other side. You have to worry about Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, all those other receivers that they got. It's not like you can just focus on one receiver and say, hey, we're fine. No, it's not only Stephon Diggs that they got on the roster, and that's the problem. Stephon Diggs has absolutely made things easier for the other receivers because he is such a baller, right? But we have Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey, especially in the first quarter against A.J. Brown, had some struggles, but he did end up clamping up as the game went on. They were rotating him and Marcus Peters and Jimmy Smith on A.J. Brown. I assume that that's what they're going to be doing against the Bills. I don't necessarily think that they're just going to stick one corner on one receiver and then go. No, I think they're going to be rotating the corners just like they were doing. So yeah, that's the matchup everybody's focusing on for a good reason, because it's going to be a good matchup to watch. I'm sure the receivers are going to get theirs, and I'm sure the corners could potentially get theirs as well on occasion. But aside from that, I mean, there's also some other intriguing matchups here, right? Like the Ravens defensive line versus this Bills offensive line. The Bills offensive line, I would say, is solid. It's not anything spectacular. They don't have like a stud, player there necessarily. They just have good offensive linemen. They're all like good, solid offensive linemen. It's kind of like the Ravens offensive line that right now you don't have Ronnie Stanley. You have Orlando Brown moved over to the left side, and the rest are solid offensive linemen, but not like just, the best offensive linemen in the league. I would say that it's very similar in those situations. So the D-line, they will have to play very similarly to how they played against the Titans. Not necessarily in the running game, because the Bills don't have Zach Moss going into this game. I believe they did just sign Devontae Freeman to their practice squad, so I assume they're going to be bringing him up. And they also still have Devin Singletary, right? Devin Singletary I wouldn't consider him a workhorse running back. He's definitely more of a scat back, speed back, in my opinion. So I would argue that don't really respect their running game, aside from Josh Allen, of course, because let's not forget what they have in Josh Allen. Josh Allen is also very mobile. Not only does he have that strong arm, which he has worked on, he's worked on his mechanics. He's improved a lot as a thrower of the football, but also he has that mobility, which is dangerous. But the good thing is that the Ravens defense in practice goes up against Lamar Jackson every single week, right? So they should be prepared for that matchup. But yeah, Josh Allen, if he goes, this offense will go for the Bills. But if Josh Allen struggles against this defense, against Calais Campbell up front, 7-foot monster, Brandon Williams up the middle, clogging up running lanes, Yannick Ngakoue, if he can show up in this game, Judon, Pernell McPhee, it could give the Bills some problems. Especially because a lot of people are talking about how the Bills and Josh Allen are very good against the blitz. I get it. I understand that. But the Ravens do things a little bit differently. They blitz a little bit differently, right? They do. I mean, we are, I think, the most blitz heavy team in the league still, if I'm not mistaken. But they take away your quick reads, right? That's what they do differently. Now, if the Bills offense is able to adjust to that, which they've shown in the past that they're very capable of doing so. Brian Daboll, I believe, is their offensive coordinator, is very good. They have extremely good coaching. This is going to be a very disciplined team as they have very good coaching, right? So this is going to be a very, very good game. This is going to be a very good game. This defense versus that Bills offense is going to be something that I'm looking forward to watching. That's one of the matchups that I am very much looking forward to watching. And they have Dawson Knox as well. You know, you can't really sleep on the tight ends, but I mean, he's no Travis Kelce. Let's be honest. If we do make it past the Bills and the Chiefs do beat the Browns, then you'll worry about the tight end position. But to be honest, are you really scared of Dawson Knox? I'm not. Maybe he'll show up and maybe he'll, surprise me. But let's be real here. You're really looking at those wide receivers and not really focusing too much on the tight ends or the running backs for the Buffalo Bills necessarily. So that would be my take on it. On the other side of the ball, for the Ravens offense, you really just have to show up and play. You really, really have to just show up and play. Let's talk about the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the other matchups here. The Ravens offense versus the Bills defense. This is also going to be very interesting because the Bills defense is, I would say, very, very solid. Very solid. I wouldn't say they're a spectacular defense. I would say their strength here lies in the secondary, if I had to say so. And they also have good linebackers. They have Matt Milano. They have Edmonds. They have Tremaine Edmonds. Veteran linebackers, and they did face us last year, and they actually did pretty decently against the Ravens offense last year, if you guys remember, in Buffalo. But I would say their strength lies in the secondary. You got to look at those safeties, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, probably one of the best, if not the best safety tandems in the league. And also, of course, Tre'Davious White. I assume that they're going to be sticking Tre'Davious White on Hollywood Brown. Tre'Davious White has the speed to match up with Hollywood Brown, so that'll be a very interesting matchup to watch between him and Brown there. But aside from that, they have a Levi Wallace, they have a Taron Johnson, and I guess Josh Norman is still on there, but I don't know. They have a solid, very, very solid secondary. But the thing is, the Ravens don't necessarily make their money through the air, right? As you guys know. Ideally, we would be able to move the ball through the air when we need to, when Mark Andrews is open, Hollywood, Des Bryant, if he gets open, Miles Boykin, all those guys, you would love to see them get going. But it's going to be a tough ask to get this passing game going against this secondary that the Bills do have. Their D-line, they have some talent. They have Ed Oliver, who was a first-round pick. They have Mario Addison on the other side. They have Jerry Hughes, and they have Vernon Butler up there. So Harrison Phillips, AJ Epineza, they have Trent Murphy. They have good players on the defensive line. But what I've noticed when I watch them play, and I'm obviously going to dive a lot deeper into the Bills as the week goes on, but they're not super disciplined. Like they're not, I don't know. They're just, I feel like they can get dominated at the point of attack on occasion. And if the defensive line doesn't step up for the Bills in this matchup, it's going to be a problem because you have to be disciplined going up against this read option offense, against this pistol offense that the Ravens love to run. If you're not disciplined, Lamar's going to take off for a 60-yard touchdown, as you saw it against the Titans, right? But obviously they have those linebackers back there to back up that defensive line when they do make mistakes. So this is just an overall solid defense that they don't necessarily have many holes on the defense that you can really exploit. It's just really all about playing your game and just trying to be better than them. That's really all it is. That's really all it is for me. But aside from that, I mean, the offense, I would like to see J.K. Dobbins get going here. I would like to see Gus Edwards get going, especially if they try to do what the Titans did last week, which was they basically went back all the way to the Chargers game plan against the Ravens in the playoffs, which is where they put safeties out there instead of linebackers, right? If the Bills try that, I would like to see a lot of Mark Andrews. I would like to see a lot of Gus Edwards. I would just like to see you just pound the ball down their throat. So then that way they have to get out of that. And if they do that, that's when you can involve J.K. Dobbins. You can involve Lamar in the running game. You can get that speed going, right? There's ways for the offense to get over the hump of this solid Bills defense, but it's all about going out there and just playing your game. It's just all about playing your game. I mean, that's pretty much it, man. It's going to be a good matchup. It is going to be a very, very good matchup. I think that this kind of, I don't know why, like I was thinking about it earlier. For some reason, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Broncos-Ravens matchup on the Ravens Super Bowl run. Not necessarily saying that I'm expecting the Ravens to run all the way to the Super Bowl, but I don't know, just an explosive offense. Like, what if this is a high-scoring game, like a 38-35 game like the Broncos and Ravens game was? Not saying it will be, but, you know, a solid defense that the Broncos had, high-powered offense like the Bills and the Broncos had with Peyton Manning, right? So it's going to be one of those divisional matchups. It's going to, you know, so many heartbreaks, so many this is not going to be a comfortable game. If it's a snow game, it might be a snow game. It's not for sure. It's not for sure. But I heard that, that there is a chance that there might be snow in Buffalo when the game happens. So that'll be interesting. That'll be another factor to take into account, right? That'll be another factor to take into account. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be a very, very good matchup. This is going to be so good. I'm hoping that the Ravens can pull it out. As I'm sitting right now, as you know, I am a Ravens fan, as you can tell. So I do have faith in the Ravens for them to pull it out. I think a lot of people are kind of concerned about this offense. I'm not. I'm really not. And especially if the defense plays the same way they did against the Titans, we should have success. We should have some success against this Bills offense. I know that, like, again, they have amazing receivers, right? Josh Allen, when he's on. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or he plays like it, right? He can. So I'm not blind to the fact of their offense. I know they have a spectacular offense, but this defense can be special if it's fully healthy right now. So just look out, man. Look out for that matchup right there. That's all I want to say. It's going to be interesting. But yes, as of right now, on Tuesday, I am going to be leaning my Baltimore Ravens. I'm not concerned about the offense. Let me tell you why. Because, yes, I understand we only put up 20 points on the Titans. But like I said, for some reason, whatever it is, the Titans defense just knows how to play the Ravens offense. They've showed it to us multiple times. These past two games, when they beat us twice in Baltimore, the defense knows how to play the Ravens offense. They just do. They show up and they play well. They played extremely well in Tennessee this last game in the wild card matchup, right? So that's why I'm not too concerned. And a lot of the things like that pass interference from Willie Snead, that potentially took off another touchdown. So the Ravens really could have won like 27-13. There's that. There was a few things that kept the Ravens from scoring that I don't necessarily feel like it was just that they couldn't. It's just penalty here and there, a missed field goal from Justin Tucker. Right. So I'm not concerned about this offense. I do think that we will be able to move the ball. And I think that the Ravens should be able to put up enough points. It's just all about playing your game. That's really all it is. I would be extremely surprised if it's a blowout on either direction. If the Bills blow the Ravens out or if the Ravens blow the Bills out, I would be extremely surprised. I think this is going to be a close game that goes down to the wire and is going to give every single fan a heart attack. And we're all going to be crying and we're all going to get red in the face. It's going to be crazy. This is just one of those games.